Upstone here for Vegas Pro Insiders Daily, and today is October the 18th. Looking to talk about some NFL action coming your way, along with, we got a free pick for Thursday in college football for you. So we'll get to that in a minute. Hey, Vegas Pro Insiders Daily Inner Circle members continue to thrive. How? Because, for example, Kyle Hunter, 19-9 in his best bets. Sean Higgs, number one at sportscapping, sportscapping.com. I've been doing well across the board, as I mentioned yesterday, okay, with my selections. Dennis Macklin, best bets recently, 6-1. Jim Mack had a little bit of a rough period, but Jim's starting to come around. We're starting to see some real positive things out of him. Plus, wise guy selections, the in-season systems, super system, unbelievable trends, the power ratings that I have, and I have stuff that goes off of those that offer opinions on games like underdogs and stuff to look at. And those, what do? They win. And they just win continually. So that's the big aspect of it. VegasProInsidersDaily.com Inner Circle membership. $99 a month. That's it. Nothing more. Okay. You're going to get everything I just mentioned. Okay. Really, sign up today. Okay. If you're paying for picks that, they're just more expensive. Get the information you want. And as I've said, and I'll say it again, this is a toolbox to help you win more frequently. All right. So enough about that. So now let's talk about some line moves and betting trends in the NFL, and then we'll come back to Thursday. Now, first up, we got Baltimore and Minnesota. Now, after their best offensive showing of the year against Oakland, Baltimore came home and couldn't even muster 300 total yards against the Chicago Bears and ended up losing that game. Now, the more you watch the Ravens play, the more you're convinced, at least certainly I am, than ever, that at best, this is a 500 team. And they've been shifted from plus 4.5 to plus 5.5 in the Twin Cities against the Vikings. Now, Minnesota has a number 5 defense in the NFL, and I think they're more than capable of shutting down whatever Baltimore would happen to put up out there. And they're 16-5 at home against the spread since 2015. 88% of bettors are on Minnesota at the present time. In a quarterback league, the NFL is considered a quarterback league. So when you have a matchup of Drew Brees against Brett Hundley for Green Bay, well, that's pretty easy to figure. So this New Orleans Packers game, it's just so hard to see, frankly. The Packers, they opened up at plus 4 at Lambeau Field, plus 4.5 at Lambeau Field, and they got bumped up to plus 6 against the Saints. Okay, it's not like we're talking about the Saints are the New England Patriots here, but remarkable to see. But that's a difference of what Aaron Rodgers meant to this team. Now the thing is, though, the Saints not only is it an advantageous position for them, but they're going, who knows how many offensive linemen the Packers are going to have, because they lost 3 last Sunday. Are they all coming back? Haven't heard. We won't know probably until game time. Defense, it literally seems like they're pulling guys off the street. I was watching the game. There was 2 guys in the secondary I'd never even heard of, that were playing. So, the defense is a wreck. I think 5 or 6 starters are likely to be out for that game. 65% of the people are backing New Orleans, and at this moment, boy, it's hard not to make a case and go that direction. The Seattle Seahawks had a week off, make the flight cross country to place the New York Giants. Now, the New York Giants didn't have many friends last week in Denver, did they? Opening at 10 and 12 to 13 ended up being the final line in terms of number of points they get, and they went outright. Well, guess what? The Giants have a new host of friends now that they're back home and have finally won a game, and they've slid from plus 7 and, depending on the sports book, down to plus 6 or even plus 5.5 against Seattle. Now, there's one other aspect to this game. In spite of the total dropping, in spite of Eli Manning not having many weapons to utilize, the total has gone from 39 to 40.5. And that's kind of like, seeing that kind of like makes as much sense as the prices of Velveeta cheese going up, almost doubling. Little grocery shopping tip there for you, okay? put a smile on your face and mine. Anyways, so with this, I don't really like the total going up that much. And actually, if you go to the site, you'll see also, well, and I'll mention it here as well, 95% of the people are on the under. So there must be some sharp money involved in moving that total. However, I can at least make the case for Seattle slipping as a favorite, because they're over the years, and I'm going back a couple of decades here, they're one of the worst bets in October that there is in the NFL. So could make the case there. 68% of the people, though, still are backing Seattle. AFC West Division matchup, Denver against the LA Chargers. Got that one right this time, all right? Just a week ago, probably Denver would have been a 3-point favorite in Carson, California. But they have slipped. They opened at -1.5, and now they're a 1.5-point underdog, okay, in this one. Now, the Broncos are averaging under 19 points per game since Trevor Siemian has become their starting quarterback. But here's the question. Do you really trust the Chargers, who are 0-3 straight up and against the spread in Carson, California, in that wonderful-looking soccer stadium that they have there that they are having a difficult time filling up? On Tuesday night, the total also drifted downward from 43.5 down to 41.5. Now, the average score of a Denver game is 41 points, and the average score of a Chargers game is 40.1. What's the direction to take that one? 69% of bettors are on Denver, and 72% are on the under. Lastly, in the NFL, Super Bowl rematch, Atlanta, New England, Sunday night, okay? Now, if this game would have been played either 1 week or in week 1 or week 2, you could actually consider this a rematch. But based on what we know about these two teams, these are not the same two teams that we saw, previously. Atlanta is not nearly as dominant offensively, got a new offensive coordinator. Things are a little bit different from how they're performing, and they scored, 33 points the last 2 games at home. So the offense is certainly different. In New England, Tom Brady, he's been sacked 16 times in 6 games this year. Last year, in the 12 regular season games he played, he was sacked 16 times. Defense, we know, is by yardage anyways, the worst in the NFL. And to my way of thinking, not many people are all that impressed. They gave up 17 points each of the last 2 games, or 17 and 14 points, in their last 2 games. So with this, Atlanta has slipped a point from +4.5 down to +3.5 against New England, and the total is on the rise from 53.5 to 55. Side right now looks pretty difficult, I think. New England hasn't been very good at home, hasn't been very good overall, based on their standards, and Atlanta's coming off 2 bad home losses. However, the total is intriguing because Atlanta is 12-0. Over when the total is 49.5 or higher the last couple of years. So that's intriguing. 68% of the bettors are on Atlanta, and 84% are on the over. Hey, you know what? Let's tackle a college football game on Thursday. And it's the ACC, which the big schools, the Power 5 schools, don't want to give any credit to, but this conference has 3 teams currently in the top 25, and they switched one out. Memphis beat Navy, so Memphis is in. Navy was in the top 25. Last week they're out. So this conference is not getting enough credit. And everybody says, well, look at how weak the conference is at the bottom. Yeah, who doesn't love Kansas, Rutgers, let's see here, Vanderbilt's okay this year. You know what I mean. Oregon State. Okay, yeah, those are teams we all have to see, right? The ACC's playing good football. Sure, there's some bad teams in there, and they don't have the marquee. But, this conference was rated by, when it was the Big East, by some of the other conferences. So, hey, you know what? This is good football, my friends. Memphis and Houston is the game. Primetime, ESPN Thursday night, total dumped from 61.5 down to 59, and I think I understand why. Now, the last 2 years, we've had big shootouts with these 2 teams competing. I don't think that's going to be the case this time. Houston, offensively, not the same club. They're only scoring 25.5 points a game against teams that are giving up 31.6. So the offense is certainly underachieving and or not particularly good. Now, we know Memphis can score and give up a lot of points, but this Cougars defense is pretty good. Now they had a tough time because of turnovers last week against Tulsa, but still they're a pretty solid group, and they're going to be at home. And as I just mentioned before, offensively not real crazy about how their offense is playing. I have a system that comes into play here, and it relates to Houston. And when home teams are I should say in October, when home teams when the home teams are home, and the total is between 56.5 and 63, and the home team has been outscored against the spread by 35 or more points in their last 5 games. I'll let that sink in for a second. Okay, the under is 45 and 17 during that time. So there you have it. Doug Upstone, Vegas Pro Insiders Daily. You really ought to consider becoming an Inner Circle member. You're going to love what you're going to get. Okay, it's all good stuff, and it's going to help you win. So this is it for Wednesday. I'll be back on Friday. We'll talk some college football with a ton of free picks, like every Friday, and get this done for you. So right now, Doug Upstone, I am